What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gooner Channel January Transfer Window News Show, a forensic look at all the players linked with a move to and from Arsenal in this January transfer window. And let's be honest, it's increasingly looking like we might not be signing anyone at all, but it hasn't stopped the rumours and speculation continuing. And today, the big stories are, first of all, a player that we've been linked with in every summer and winter transfer window for what seems like 10 years.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. That's the signpost up ahead. Your next stop.
The Arsenal January Transfer Window News Show. Karim Benzema. It was widely reported that since he failed to turn up for training after the winter break, that he had had enough of Saudi Arabia already, sort of done a Jordan Henderson and decided it wasn't for him. He has scored 12 goals for Al Ittihad. Now, I covered this story last week because his agent came out and said that the reason that he'd been late back to Saudi Arabia was actually due to the Iceland volcanic eruption, which interfered with air traffic, and that his client was incredibly happy at Saudi Arabia and no plans to leave. And after all, he's on 2.8 million a week, which seems like quite a lot of money to pay for a player on loan for 6 months. It comes to about 67 million if we pay all of his salary. So if it isn't enough for you that his agent came out last week and said there's no truth to the rumours, and he would probably know, then surely today, Benzema himself, speaking to French publication L'Equipe, said it's completely false. The French media don't know what to invent anymore, the bigger the better. He has squashed any rumours that he's leaving, and that surely should be an end to it. I don't know how you feel about it. For me, he's unquestionably one of the great strikers in the world. His last season with Real Madrid, even though he's now 36, he still scored 19 goals. I do think that if we were able to bring Benzema to the Premier League, it would be exciting and that he would get goals. But if he doesn't want to come, the club don't want him to leave, and the kind of salary he's on makes it almost impossible to imagine. I think we have to accept that the Benzema rumours should die out from here on in. But another player that we've been linked with, and in fact, this channel is nearly a year old. Last year in the January transfer window, I started the channel and all of the discussions were around Ivan Fresneda and Martin Zubimendi. Now, Zubimendi is a 24-year-old. He spent his entire career at Real Sociedad. He is a defensive midfielder. Last year in the January transfer window, we apparently met the release clause only to have Zubimendi himself decline the move because he was happy at Real Sociedad and didn't want to leave. There are multiple Spanish media outlets from AS, Mundo Deportivo and Todo Fiajes, all saying that he has decided not to go to Barcelona. It's not actually clear to me whether he's decided he doesn't want to go to Barcelona to replace Busquets or whether Barcelona have turned their attention elsewhere. But in any case, most of these publications are now saying that he has chosen Arsenal. Apparently he wants to play alongside Declan Rice, but that this move will not happen till summer. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen that much of Zubimendi. I did watch Celta Vigo Real Sociedad in the Copa del Rey yesterday, and he looked all right. It didn't blow me away. I haven't seen enough of him. He is highly regarded, and of course, defensive midfield is a position that we're probably going to need to strengthen because it's unlikely that Thomas Partey's going to stick around. El Nenny's probably leaving, and I don't know how much you'd rely on Jorginho next season. So we probably do need to strengthen this area. Is it exciting that we're in for Martin Zubimendi? The release clause is around 60 million euros, or that's what I'm given to understand. And if he comes in summer, great. But there's so much that we have to think about before summer. We still have so much to do to salvage our season that it seems silly to be thinking about summer already. We have the Porto round of 16 game in the Champions League, and we do need to start putting results together if we're going to challenge Liverpool and Manchester City for the league. So this story, I think, is something that we can park anyway. Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. Maybe you've seen more of Martin Zubimendi than I have. If he is as exciting as they say he is, then he would be a welcome addition. But this transfer window for me has stood out because at the end of the summer transfer window, I felt it was absolutely vital that we can strengthen our defensive lineup. We currently have 8 defenders, but that includes Jurrien Timber, who may or may not play a part in the rest of the season. Unfortunate injury he picked up in the first game against Nottingham Forest has seen him sidelined for the whole season. And of course, Tomiyasu with his injury problems and now being away at the Asian Cup. We are down at this point to 5 defenders, and that doesn't seem quite enough for the rest of the season. I know that we have Sousa and Royal Walters from the academy who could come in, but let's face it, Arteta doesn't really like playing academy players and never has done. And so I would be really worried if we don't at least bring in a defender. On the subject of defenders, another player who played in the game yesterday, who a lot of people have been talking about coming back to Arsenal, was Kieran Tierney, who has, I think, in some ways inexplicably loaned out to Real Sociedad, because we could definitely do with cover at the left back. He has had a really tough season and in fact hobbled off in that game, and it looks like he might be sidelined for another month. Really tough season for him for injuries, and I wish him a speedy recovery. I don't personally think Kieran Tierney is the solution long-term to Arsenal's left-sided defensive problems. I don't think Zinchenko's as bad a defender as people say he is, but he's certainly error-prone, and the time he spends in midfield does leave us a little bit exposed. That is an issue. Jacob Kivior, who's deputised for Zinchenko, hasn't really set the world on fire, but he's another player who is apparently not going anywhere, and we've refused any offers for him despite interest from AC Milan amongst other clubs in Italy. I'm glad we're not letting any more defenders go, but, you know, at risk of repeating myself ad nauseum, I would love to see us go out and strengthen the defence. Of course, part of this seems to be that Arsenal are worried about profit and sustainability. We have apparently agreed to make the move for David Raya permanent. Some people are going to be really upset about that, but I don't know how much choice we had. I think there wasn't really an option to buy. It has been hugely surprising and disappointing to me that we haven't been able to bring in any defenders at all. There's a week left of the transfer window. There's still not really much speculation. The only real speculation around a defender was 17-year-old Ajax right-back centre-back Joel Hatto, which I covered about 10 days ago. But even that is a summer transfer. I know that people want to see us go out and get a striker, Ivan Toney. Victor Osimhen, who today has also come out and said that he's made his mind up about summer transfer, but he will be staying Napoli till then. For all of the talk around players coming to Arsenal in attack and midfield, very little speculation around defenders. So I think with a week to go, I'm starting to be resigned to the fact that we may be trying to go into the rest of the season with only 5 defenders. Of course, when Tomiyasu comes back from the Asian Cup, that goes up to 6. But it's not enough, is it? Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. Do you think that Mikel Arteta will finally give some time to Royal Walters? He could have brought him on in the game against Palace and didn't. I mean, if you're 3 or 4-0 up and you still don't want to bring on a player, it's not looking like he's going to get considerable game time. I'm worried about that. It's one of the things that I am critical of Mikel Arteta over. I am sometimes critical of Mikel Arteta. For those of you who've joined the channel recently, I want to say a massive thank you. It's been a really big week for the channel in what is coming up to the 1st anniversary of launching. I launched it on the last day of the transfer window last season. But the January transfer window hasn't been a great one for Arsenal, and this one may be one of the weakest of all if we don't sign anyone at all. Have we given up on our title charge? Is there too much ground already to make up against Liverpool, who frankly, his performance against Bournemouth really worried me, because 0-0 at half-time, I was fingers crossed that they might get a draw without Salah, who looks like he's out for a month and won't be available to play against us. We need to beat Liverpool. We need every game right now is starting to feel like a must-win game. So today, on Wednesday, the 24th of January, with just a week to go in the January transfer window, no one looks like they're coming in this window. And the squad we have now, as Arteta has said on numerous occasions, is what we're going to have to rely on. And I think that is a huge risk. I thought that in summer. I think if we only have 5 defenders and one of them gets injured, then I think we can pretty much say goodbye to our title challenge, which is frustrating. Let me know in the comments what you think. Who's to blame? Who do we get angry with? An element of our fan base now who is convinced that the real problem at Arsenal isn't just the board not spending enough money that they're not allowed to spend because of profit and sustainability. Isn't Edu and his team for not going out and getting the Benzemas of the world who don't want to come and whom we couldn't afford anyway. It isn't Mikel Arteta, or it isn't just Mikel Arteta, although he is heavily blamed for everything that's apparently going wrong at our club. But it's also us, the fans. The many, many fans who are happy with the progress being made, who are happy where we are compared to where we were and still see progress and still believe in a process. We are apparently the problem. It's our toxic positivity. Yeah, it's a phrase I've just heard. Toxically positive. Apparently, because we are happy with our club, because we're not furiously angry all the time, we have lowered the standards sufficiently that the board get away with not doing what they're supposed to be doing and putting up with Mikel Arteta when they should have sacked him and replaced him with I don't really know who. I'll take that. Yes, my positivity is the reason that Arsenal didn't win the league last season. But then, by definition, if I'm responsible for us not winning the league last season, surely it was my positivity that led to us going unbeaten in 2004. I was at every home game then, and I cheered us on. And what I probably should have done is been a little bit angrier so that we could have done a little bit better than going unbeaten. Look, if you're a fan who has taken to the comments recently to complain that I'm the problem with Arsenal and people like me, those of you posting hateful comments after my last video, thank you so much for doing that. Please don't hesitate to click the down and leave horrible comments, because let's be honest, in doing so, you've made the videos more popular and helped me to reach the massive majority of fans who are sensible, intelligent, wonderful people who are happy with where we are and look forward to success under Mikel Arteta and will support in any way we can to make that possible. So this transfer window, even someone who's as toxically positive as me is finding it hard to be positive about this transfer window. But I think we all knew going in that the way Arsenal have been doing business is to try and get deals done early in the window, not right at the end. January has never been a good transfer window for Arsenal. There's only a handful of players we've ever brought in January that have done well. Maybe it is better to wait till summer. I am concerned that this squad isn't quite strong enough to win the league. After all, we are chasing down an incredibly good Manchester City team, managed by the best manager that's probably ever lived, and Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, and you have to take your hat off to Jurgen Klopp. Do I think that Mikel Arteta is as good a manager as Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp? No, I don't. But am I happy with the progress we've made under him? Yes, and I will continue to cheer and be toxically positive to the very end. Anyway, that's been your January transfer window news show. Till I see you tomorrow, be lucky. Lots of love.